Hi, y'all. We are so excited to be here. Welcome to Winning the Guest Experience. Today is a special, special day. We have an incredible guest. And of course, I have my chief strategist here,
Hi,
Allison Rank,
everyone.
who is going to be interviewing our closing keynote speaker for the Now Summit. Now, this gentleman, he's got it going on. He is the number one Cadillac dealer, 16 years running. And we are going to tap into all of his trade secrets on how he was able to win the guest experience, which is part of being the number one Cadillac dealer, the dealer of the year for 16 years running. So let's welcome Bill Camastro to the stage. We are so excited to have you here, Bill. Welcome,
Hey,
welcome.
how are you? Good to see
We're
you.
so good. So good to see you too. Uh, this is going to be a little different because I'm not the one talking. I'm going to hand it over to Allison, and Allison is going to ask you a few questions, and you, Bill, are on the hot seat.
No worries. Fire away.
Good morning, Bill. It's so good to see you. Last time I saw you was in Long Beach, which is close to where I am now. I was so impressed by everything that you're doing and how much it ties into everything that we're about. So it's just an honor to be in your circle and to be able to be speaking with you today. So thank you for taking the time.
Same here, and I'm honored to be here with you guys.
Thank you. I just want to start. Cadillac Dealer of the Year, 16 years in a row. Extraordinary. You mentioned there's quite a bit that goes into it that Cadillac looks at. And I'm sure day to day, there's a tremendous amount that you've had to do that you've actually built over the years. Would you start by just talking about what Cadillac requires and what it's evolved into you to just become better and better?
So Cadillac, to be dealer of the year, there's a number of different different metrics. First of all, profitability, obviously, cash flow. I mean, you have to have a certain amount of cash flow. Um, Customer satisfaction indices compared to your peers. Social media reviews. Let's see what else. There's a number. Facility, image, compliance for the building, advertising compliance. So that's a lot. And also sales and penetrating your market, how you penetrate your PMI, your primary market area. And, that's the results end of it. Okay. However, all of the things that lead to that are based on customer engagement, in my opinion. So I we don't like it, we don't. Our philosophy here is not to chase money,
Mm,
but to let money chase our efforts. And
mm,
we talk about that. Oh, this is our big conference room. Oftentimes there's 25, 30 people in it, sometimes more than that. We have 70 employees here. But the big thing for us is to have all of our employees not just engaged in the things that they do, as a one-off. But I want them to understand how they contribute to the overall deal, whether it's dealer of the year, the net profitability of the store. It takes, like a crew team, you got a barker in the back with the horn, but you have, 8 or 10 people rowing and an equal number on each side. If one person rows a little bit less hard than the other 8, the boat will spin in a circle. So we need to have everybody kind of on the same song sheet, and it's really important for us to make sure we have that continuity in our culture. As far as the customer satisfaction indexes, you have to be over a certain level, and that level is really high. I mean, you got to be in the high 90s in terms of overall satisfaction. Net promoter score, those would be customers that promote you on the outside. They're advocates versus assassins. And then you'd have your social media scores, and the average needs to be somewhere between 4.5 and obviously 5.0, but north of 4.5, just as an example. And the things that we do here, and the playbooks, which we have one for every position, is clearly defined to all contribute to the center, if you will. Everything kind of brings it back to the center, which is one finished product. So we pay very close attention to what everybody does, what everybody says, how everybody looks. And I'll finish by saying this. I liken it to Disney. And that I learned years ago. Disney's philosophy is everything you do, everything you say, what you wear, the air around you, the scent, everything speaks to people about you. And I like my employees to understand, A, that everything that they do, say, wear, speaks to the customers about them. But, even more so by addressing that and being professional with all of that, what's in it for them? Because people don't come here and do what you ask them to do just so you can go home and tell your spouse or your significant other that you got them all to jump through hoops. They don't do it for you. They do it for them. They do it for the check you signed for them. But at the end of the day, they do it to put a roof over their head. They do it to buy a new car, to put groceries on the table. And if you can clearly show them how it puts money in their pocket, how it makes a better life for them long term, you tend to get a much better result in terms of their not just their contribution, but their commitment to your policies and procedures. So hopefully that's given you a little bit more clear picture of how we operate.
It does. Thank you. I do just want to invite anyone that is in the audience today, comment. This is your opportunity just as much as it is mine to ask this brilliant man questions. So I'll invite that. And Bill, actually perfect segue. So you spoke at CX Auto about how you wrote a personal letter that gets handed to every single person
Yes.
that experiences your dealership.
Yeah.
You to have the confidence that that's not going to have your phone blowing up 24/7. You have to have an incredible process to empower your team. Can you talk a little bit about that for us?
Sure. Little illustration for everybody. This is in the center of our conference room here, and we always keep a stack of that very letter so that if anybody runs short, because they have to hand this to every customer on delivery. As you can see, it's got a QR code in the lower right-hand corner. That's so that our salespeople can use the customer's cell phone and get them into our appointment schedule, which does a lot of things for us. It's got a lot of peripheral benefits, such as it helps our SEO, but more so, it gets them in our appointment scheduler, and it allows the customer to understand at point of sale how to access our appointment scheduler and then become engaged with our service department. And beyond that, when we retain those customers for service beyond 30,000 miles, we know that 70% of those customers will give us an opportunity to buy our car again, and we'll close 40% of that 70%. So for every 10 customers we retain in our service department, we know that we're going to sell 2.8 or 3 of those customers a new car at bare minimum. So constantly building that foundation in our customer base over time. It also has it in bold letters, the 6 or 8 different things that a salesperson is going to do at point of sale and delivery to ensure a good experience for the customer. And I put that in writing because I want the customer to know, and the customer to it has a self-policing mechanism, if you will, built into it, so that the customer actually, when they're reading this, is saying to themselves, okay, now I'm going to pay attention. Well, did they do this? Did they do that? Mm-hmm. And even if this customer reminds the salesperson, hey, it says here that you're going to do this, you haven't done that yet. Well, the good news is right at that moment, it's going to get done. Mm-hmm. That's the key. And the customer actually becomes the salesperson's coach. So it really, it just keeps everything contained to actually getting it done. My personal cell phone number resides right in the center of the page in bold letters. My personal cell, this one right here. And I put it here for a reason. It lit up because I touched it, by the way. What I want you guys to think about while I'm talking here, while we're interviewing, is look at my phone and ask yourself, how many times did that phone actually light up? It doesn't light up a lot. It will every once in a while. But because my cell phone number is on here, again, it's got an anchor built into it where the salesperson knows ultimately the customer will call Bill Camastro if they're not 100% satisfied, because it encourages them to do so. Now, a lot of my salespeople have been here for a long time, and they know that if the customer calls me by virtue of this letter, by receipt of this letter, I'll never give them a hard time, and I don't. If the customer calls me, they can say just about anything, other than the salesperson lit me on fire, and I will resolve it, and I'll congratulate the salesperson or the manager for making sure the customer had my cell phone number and could get to me. The only time I will ever get upset with my employees or even remotely chastise them at all is if the customer gives us a bad survey, gives us a bad social media review, or gets to me without having had that cell phone number and without me having the opportunity to resolve the issue. Because that's a conscious effort on the salesperson's behalf to not follow process and to allow us to get exposed to poor CSI and poor social media scores. It's not just a score. I want the customer satisfaction. I want them to come back. I want that, 2.8 or 3 customers out of 10 to buy a car from me and keep building our customer base. That's what the intent here is. It's not to, have another gotcha moment with a salesperson. And they know that. That's why I don't complain if a customer calls me and says, hey, this is what's going on. I didn't like the color of that person's tie or the dress she wore or the way they spoke. It can happen. It doesn't happen often here, but it can happen. But I never give them a hard time if the customer gets to me and I get to resolve the issue. Over time, this takes on a life of its own. And the salespeople actually go out of their way to get it to the customer because they realize the CSI is putting money in their pocket. Their customer base is building. Their income is building. And all the promises that I make them when they start here, and I describe their job description in writing, start to come true. So, it really is one of the most powerful things that I've ever done. And it was given to me by a lot of other smart people, by the way. So I can't take all the credit for it. The only thing I can take credit for is this QR code, which ties them into the database of the dealership so that they can't get away from us without gathering the proper information to be able to communicate with them or market to them in the future.
That one letter just has tons of incredible tools in it. Hi, Tracy. You say great idea for accountability, and the QR code is what a great idea. That is not only helping you, but helping the customer. How often do we leave and we just don't know how to do anything except to call the sales rep and maybe wait for their call because we called into the main line. So that is brilliant.
I'll just give you 2 quick snippets that I think will help anybody looking to, there's a lot of people out there, and I've worked with a lot of people over the years and a lot of big companies as a consultant. And a lot of times the upper management or the ownership doesn't want to get involved with customer engagement at the ground floor level. Okay. My opinion is the further you are from your customers, the closer you are to going out of business. That's number one. But number two, if there's a Best Buy over here, okay, and another tech electronic store over here, and you have the owner's phone number to Best Buy, and you don't have the owner's phone number over here, but you need to buy something and you don't know the product as well as other people might know it, which place would you walk into first? Obviously, the place where I can talk to the owner if I need to or I have to.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, after your first or second experience of doing that, and you actually call that number and get the person on the phone, the next time you go to buy something, you start to say to yourself, I'm willing to pay a little bit more for that convenience and also that comfort.
Yeah.
Right. So comfort and convenience, Ritz-Carlton, Four Seasons, and the last thing I'll say is, you've all heard, and it's got a place in the world. Don't get me wrong. Motel 6 will leave the lights on, right?
Right.
Right. Well, they leave the lights on because they always have rooms that are empty.
Oh.
Four Seasons in a Ritz-Carlton, not so. Much more money. Much more expensive, right? But the 10-second 10-step rule. If you're within 10 steps or 10 seconds in the person's presence, ask them how their stay is going and is there anything I can help you with, right? I'll leave the lights on. That's about as far as it goes. And I'm not putting down Motel 6 because the price and the value are there.
Sure.
Right? But if you really want a good experience and you want to be able to say, I'm willing to pay more for this experience, you have to actually have the experience first to be able to do the equation in your head. Well, am I willing to spend $800 a night versus $80 a night to have that experience? So that's what we're trying to accomplish in our world, where you can buy a Cadillac for the same price or relatively close to any dealership. The one thing you cannot get in those environments is the level of effort, engagement, and we pretty much anything that relates to the customer and making the customer ours, we do here. We have no boundaries within reason. I'll put it that way.
It's incredible, and it segues so well into some questions and comments we're getting online. So Earl, thank you for joining. He commented how personalization really is that great. It builds CX and loyalty. And then Frank, you had several very relevant questions. He commented that the Ritz-Carlton has a $2,000 fund to support team members to create special moments. And then he also asked, what's the best example of something you've done, Bill, to truly personalize a customer experience or follow up at your dealership? And I would those are actually kind of hand in hand. Do you empower your employees with just, go use this? And where have you seen that lead to creative personalization that they came up with?
So particularly in my middle management, sales manager, used car manager, their compensation plans to begin with give them the ability to make decisions on things like policy and can I give this away or can I give that? So it affects their compensation. But more so what we do is we actually meet once a week and we go over the things that we did, where it resolved the customer's issue and where there wasn't an expense, attached to it. And, we look at those things and was this warranted or were we just covering up a problem? Because one of the things, the Ritz-Carlton thing I do like with small exception. I don't want to, I want to fix the crash if it happens, but I'm a big advocate of fixing the cause so that it doesn't happen very often. So we measure the cost. They have the full authority to solve a customer issue without question, dollars and cents wise. I don't have a limit. Realistically, I don't have a limit because it affects their compensation. And what ends up happening at the end of the day is if they make good decisions to resolve a customer's issue with touch-up paint or floor mats or fixing a dent or a bad tire, or they buy them lunch because there's a backup in the finance department, or we scratched by accident a car when it was in the service department. All of my middle management can make those decisions on their own. And it really, I don't have any real limit. I mean, it really affects that decision has to be one where they begin to decide for themselves, okay, if I spent the $500 to fix this problem, did it keep me from spending $5,000 to ignore the problem? I want them to be conscious of that and be focused on that on a daily basis. And I think over time, they really begin to make very, very good decisions. And candidly, if I'm going to make all those decisions myself for as many cars as we sell, as many service customers as we have, I would have to work, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And I probably wouldn't get to all the decisions that needed to get made. So that's really not a good business model. So the gentleman that raised that question, excellent question. We address it. We address it a little bit differently than just having a budget, but we do address it. We do it on a rolling basis and we monitor it weekly.
Okay. So it all goes into this weekly huddle where you're solving problems and creating opportunities. It's brilliant.
And also teaching them how to handle those situations. Part of having my cell phone number on that letter too, by the way, is when they can't resolve something, I do resolve it. And then I go over how I resolved it.
Okay.
And my goal in that moment is to resolve it in the most effective way possible, obviously without overspending to make it happen. Because my opinion is this: I'll spend the money when I have to, no question. But I think when you throw money at people, you have to start out by telling yourself, okay, first of all, this is an admission that I couldn't do my job right. That's first and foremost. Okay. So first is, how did I get to this place? Secondly is, to make sure that, you do all your homework when there is an issue up front. So speed to get to that problem is the most important thing. And that's why, again, my cell phone number is there, because we know when we have a problem with a customer, sales, service, whatever, 95% of the time or more, you know while it's happening that the customer's unhappy.
Yeah.
You know right there and then.
Oh, yeah.
The sin is letting them leave knowing that.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we want to have an environment where it's addressed at that moment. Everybody's comfortable doing that. And when you do that, they're really, you don't have to draw a budget because the expense will be very minimal. Because
Yes.
9 times out of 10, the biggest expenses come after the fact.
I want to jump in here because I think what you just said is, I mean, it's something we teach all the time, but the way you said it is incredible. The sin is knowing that your customer is unsatisfied and letting them leave. And that
Right.
is so powerful because we all have a choice to decide to act, to be present, to show up for the guest,
Get
or
creative.
choose to spin around and say, okay, well, my job's done, the transaction's done, and I don't care. And it truly is a sin when you know what needs to be fixed and you do nothing about it, then become surprised that your guest is unsatisfied. Well, shame on you. I think that is everybody who is listening and watching needs to write that down. The sin is knowing and letting your customer leave, because that means you've decided that is okay as an individual. I also loved here, Frank said it too, and it's a mic drop moment, and y'all need to write this down. Spend $500 to avoid spending 5,000.
Yes.
It's this one cookie now, two cookies later.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think we've had some incredible mic drop moments that are just, I mean, Bill, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom.
I want to just bring one more thing up because you said it, and it really, what you said it, and you nailed it. It's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Customer satisfaction. You could take your letters, you could take your trophies, you could take your pencil paper and technology and throw it all out the window. Let's face facts. If everybody made the right decision or the timely decision 100% of the time, we wouldn't need any of this. Because so much of what we do, so much of the accountability mechanisms, so much of the letters and the phone numbers and the, everything we do is really meant to capture our failures.
Sure.
And more than that, our failures to act. And even more than that, our failure to make the decision when we know it's the right decision.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And I find, like, we're doing this interview now, and we're live. But this is, the way I'm talking to you right now, this is the way I talk to my people all the time. Like, this is who I am. I'm not going to turn into anybody else after you turn the cameras off. I really believe in this. When do you know there's always a decision to be made? Okay, there's a dent in my new car. I'll just take it home, but tomorrow, after it stops raining, it won't look like that. Things that we used to do years ago, put pinstripes over a scratch on a car so the customer would never see it. Things like that. At the end of the day, you get caught 95% of the time. When you go to Las Vegas, it looks like that for a reason, because everybody loses. Crime doesn't. We can go on forever, right? If you're gonna play the odds that the customer will never know and they'll never find out, or I can bullshit excuse my language, through it, at the end of the day, you'll be on the losing side of the highest percentage of what you do all the time. All the time. If you do the right things long term, are you doing it for a job? You want to make a quick hit, make as much money as you can, and then leave? Okay, well, you got to keep your eyes on those people. The people that do it long term, they realize the way to build that foundation is to do as many things right as you can over and over and over again until it becomes who you are.
So, and that is exactly why we, now is non-negotiable, right? Because if you negotiate with the choices you make every single day, you're essentially negotiating with your future, the future happiness of your client, your future revenue, your future CSI scores, your future retention. And so you've got to stop that negotiation by doing the things you don't feel like doing, right? So we here have this saying that your success or the result that you're looking for is on the other side of I don't feel like it. And so if you don't feel like making that choice, it probably means you need to make the choice and do the thing you don't feel like doing, so you stop negotiating with that future.
Yeah.
And you said it very eloquently, and I'm loving that you essentially live and breathe our principles.
Yes.
And that's why you're dealer of the year 16
Yeah.
years running, because
Yes.
you do the things that you don't feel like doing, and you coach your team and lead your team to do the same.
Yes.
I'd like to add one more thing, and I'm sorry for making so long of this part of it, but I will say this, and this goes back to ground zero. And for anybody that might be listening, this is just my advice, my suggestion. You don't have to do what I say, but just my advice. If you want good CSI and you want to have good, reviews on your sites, and you want to have happy customers, build your customer base, have good repeat referral business, be profitable. Interview people and hire them for character. Don't interview them and hire for experience. Trust me.
Yes.
Hire them for character, because you cannot replace. Character takes years to build. It takes maybe some good parents. Maybe you go to church. Whatever you do. You were involved with sports. Whatever. You were respectful. You were raised up. Whatever it takes. Okay. There's a place for everybody in the world. The good, the bad, the whatever. But there's not a place for that in here. At Gold Coast Cadillac, and the employees here know that. And really, the only employees I ever really have a struggle with, and there are very few, are the ones that want to push back on our culture. Those are the only ones I ever have a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to try to unwind our culture by doing what is known as old school car business, you won't make it here. And we tell people that on the way in. We tell them on the way in, if this is who you are, if this is what you're going to do, this is what you're about, this is not the place for you, because I don't want to drag you around face down behind my pickup truck over rough glass. I'm going to make it really easy for you. There's a lot of places you can go and have a very easy time of it. This isn't it. It isn't it. You want to do the job we outlined, you'll make lots of money and you'll be very happy. If you don't want to do it the way we prescribe, there's a lot of choices. But don't come here, take the job, and then try to reinvent it.
So Zappos actually has a bonus for leaving after orientation if they don't like the culture or they don't fit in the culture. They actually pay them to leave.
Wow.
They give them money to depart after orientation if they don't fit with the culture.
Yes.
Because they will have no bad apples. And so after the 3 months of orientation, if they don't want to swim and row in the same direction as the team,
I like that.
actually paid a bonus and saying, here, I'm going to usher you to your next best opportunity.
That's a great idea. I what makes me want to buy a bunch of express bus tickets one way.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh. We are almost at time. Melissa Kahn, I've noted your question. I'm going to talk to Bill offline and get the answer and message you personally. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to it on the live. I did want to save a little bit of time, Bill. You are an incredibly busy man who has a successful dealership that I'm sure takes a lot of your time and effort. Why is it important to you, and have you said yes to flying pretty much across the country to Colorado to join us October 7th and 8th at the summit?
Well, two things. One, I'm always learning. I don't want to become a dinosaur anytime soon.
Yeah.
But more so because your values at your company and my values as a businessman are they're very much in line.
Yes.
So, I know what you guys are about. That I love that, and I love the exposure of doing it right. But I also love to be able to help you and have you help me. That's the way it should work, and promote really best practices. I mean, look, there are benefits to being involved with companies like yours for Gold Coast, because candidly, when people know, when you're allowed to, talk about your beliefs online, on a podcast, it matters to people. It matters to future employees. Can you imagine being somebody thinking about going into the automotive industry, and they get to see, your online, live stream, or listen to the recorded version later on, because they can make a better decision in terms of where they might want to work, or if their values align with us. The two best hires I've had in the last year have come from me posting a live video of myself on LinkedIn.
Wow.
And I hired two of the most high profile managers I could even think of hiring. They've done the job that beyond my expectations, because they listened to me, looked at me face to face on a video and said, that's where I want to work. And then when they came in, I decided that's who I want to hire. because I made it clear, if you don't have the right character, this isn't the place for you. And the people that showed up, they had the confidence, they had the right character. So I love being aligned with companies like yours. You guys are high profile, very credible. And I happen to know you're good people, which is good too.
Well, that's important.
Yes,
Very
very
important.
important
Well, to me, it is.
for us too. Yes. And you nailed it, right? Even the best dealers that are winning can constantly grow to continue to win. Like, do we ever reach a threshold where we can't grow? And that's such an opportunity for all of us.
One of my mentors, and I say this a lot, so if you've talked to me, you've probably heard it. If you've seen me online, I've said it. But he said to me, there is no ribbon cutting ceremony in the guest experience. You will never arrive. And if you think you've arrived, then you've become comfortable, and comfort is a lie, and you're ready to go downhill the other side into that valley. Customers change, technology changes, you change, cars change, the offerings change, and it's constantly evolving. So even when you are the best, there's always room to grow.
Yeah.
And so I love that you have that mindset.
Yeah.
My employees always tell me, I don't understand. We're dealer of the year. We make all this money. I'm the highest paid service manager of parts. Listen, you want to stay there? Then act like you're in second place. Don't act like you're in first place.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Bill, it's been such a pleasure. We cannot wait to see you in person, October 7th and 8th. Anyone that would love to meet Bill in person, this is your chance. You can.
Can I go without a tie out there, by the way?
Yes,
yes, please.
Yes.
I'll probably be in jeans, so do it.
I have a special pair of cut-off jean shorts and a Grateful Dead T-shirt I was going to wear.
I mean, go for it. Go for it. I would pay to see that.
I'm just kidding. I plan to dress, neat, casual, and enjoy myself as part of the crowd.
Awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, it's great. We're going to take over the Maven Hotel and be pretty much the only people in the venue, because we want to just all deeply connect. So we can't wait to do exactly that. Come as you are, and I can't wait to enjoy a day and a half of just really spending some time talking about how we all get better together.
Awesome. I can't thank you guys enough for having me today. It's always a pleasure.
Awesome.
Yes,
thank you so much. All right, everyone, check us out. Nowsnotnegotiable.com. The summit is there as well. Click on there if you want to see Bill and join us. And we can't wait to see you in Denver, Colorado. Like, we are almost sold out. So you have only a couple weeks to get tickets now. So we're capping it.
32 days away.
There we go. Awesome. Well, everybody have an incredible weekend. Yes. Enjoy. Be present with your family. And smile and be grateful for what y'all have. All right. Thank you, Bill, so much.
Thank you, Bill.
Take care, guys.
Take care.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.